So we were talking before the break about the differences in the culture of the Middle East and what we know life to be like in Alaska. We had a couple Pakistani journalists embedded with us for a month. And what I learned from being with these ladies is that fear was the primary motivator for them. Staying away from things they were afraid of really changed their day-to-day life from what my day-to-day life is. And I watched them move from when they first got here and were terrified of everything and thinking that everything was a setup, to just when they left, relaxing and deciding. One of them even vocalized, I am no longer living my life being afraid all the time. I'm making a conscious decision not to be afraid, which means I'm going to be uncomfortable, and I need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Is this something that's just with Pakistan, or is it the whole Middle East where everyone is thinking, I'm afraid, and that's my viewpoint of life, is living in fear?
Well, as you said, fear is a very powerful tool, especially for dictators. And the biggest dictatorship in the Middle East is the dictatorship of the husband over his wife. There are many countries where women are not equal to men. They cannot drive by themselves. They cannot leave the country without their husband's permission, and so on and so forth.
But it's not that way in Israel. I've met Israeli women, and they're pretty tough.
Of course. In Israel, we're like you are like us. We say that Israelis are like everybody else, only more so. So we are more than what the West will see. Women in Israel, they serve in the military, they serve in the parliament. We had a prime minister woman way, way before many other countries had a leader, as a woman as a leader.
As in terms of equal rights for men and women, Israel is way ahead of anybody. Let's just get that out there.
Our Supreme Court judge was a woman until recently. So we had state controller, which were women. So it's not an issue in Israel. Nobody wants to argue with his Jewish mother, right?
Right, I'm just telling you.
So, but
especially one who knows how to shoot really well.
But when we cross the border, or some of the borders around us, then you see it's a different situation. It's more of a tribal mentality. The woman has a role, and I respect that. It may work, and there are traditions which are different than mine. But when women do not participate in the workforce, when they're expected just to bear children, when their rights, the basic rights, are not respected, it harms the ability of countries to elevate themselves. It's just not good for the economy, just not good for the society. So it was proven so many times in the past, when you bring women to equal terms, it develops your country.
Otherwise, half your resources are not being used.
Correct, but it's also the fear component, which is important. Fear, one thing that fear does, it kills creativity, it kills innovation, it kills entrepreneurial spirit. So I think that's our strength, that's your strength, and maybe that's the weakness that we're witnessing across our borders. I don't know what we can do about it, but I'm sure that there's something that we can do, investment in programs that will empower women, that will empower men to empower women.
Sounds like we need a big education component to help flip things there.
It's true, and we've been working in the past with Americans, with the USAID, for example, on different programs in the region, trying to help people, doctors, nurses, teachers, educators, people who are leaders in their societies, people who are kind of trained, the trainer position. We strongly believe in that, in human capacity building, and we've been doing a lot of that. But at the end of the day, leadership has to agree to it and has to not just close a blind eye to it, but has to lead it. We're still waiting for that day.
Well, hopefully that day will come soon, because getting stuck in the cycle that you guys have been in for the last 100 years or so has got to be draining not just your region, but the whole world, because we're missing out on all the opportunities that would have come if this area had been empowered.
It's true, and you can see examples for that from the past. Beirut, Lebanon, was a place where women did have a different status. You could see women wearing Western clothes until Hezbollah took over. So you have Lebanon always almost split in half. There's an area where women are still free, and there are areas where women are subjected to the old traditions. And the result is turmoil, instability, and death at the end of the day. So we need to understand the reasons in order to try and remedy them.
Thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
us today. It's been
Thank you,
very
Dorene.
interesting. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this commercial break.